Bad Batch Season 3 is continuing to deliver on the Empire goodness. And finally, we're seeing a side of the Empire we haven't really seen before. Welcome to Star Wars Uplink.
So the Empire's actually kind of smart.
Yes, finally.
Yeah.
We have a lot of examples of the Empire just kind of being a little bit useless.
Yeah.
In a lot of ways, or just completely missing the point. But alongside that, we also have some good examples. If you look at kind of like the Death Star creation, where they had a variety of projects all throughout the galaxy that was basically creating one piece of the Death Star. Again, it's not the best example of the Empire being really good at keeping secrets, because it got found out pretty well by a few different people. Mm-hmm. But not for a lack of trying. Mount Tantis, on the other hand, it is a stronghold, and it makes sense for it to be a stronghold because it is holding basically the future for the Empire. Mm-hmm. It is everything that we see later on, including the Death Star, including all of these various aspects, come from, or at least are inspired from, something within Mount Tantis.
Yeah, Tantis is like the true brain of the Empire that's not an actual being.
Yes.
So it makes a lot of sense for this to be truly secret. Mm-hmm. And it's not a big project. It's not a big thing that has a lot of interworkings with other people. Yeah. It's just its own thing. Mm-hmm. And I think that also really helps for it to be so secluded and secretive and alone on its own little island in a way. Mm-hmm.
I do wonder, just talking about the specific episode of Bad Batch, we aren't seeing as much Hemlock as I would expect so late in the season.
That's true.
So it does make me wonder what the future is for this. Do we eventually see the Bad Batch kind of step away? This be the end for the Bad Batch in whatever way that ends up being? And then something from the Empire's perspective? Is that what we're ultimately going to lead towards? Or are we really going to see the end of the Bad Batch? Because this is the final season. There's nothing after this. And it seems like the ultimate goal for this will be to break Omega out of this prison. Or basically pick her up after she's broken out of the prison and let her revolt in this research facility. But I just wonder, as we get closer, I think we've only got anywhere from 2 to 4 episodes left. Mm-hmm. We don't have a whole lot of time.
No.
For things to happen. And it seems like there's too many loose ends for it to really
conclude.
Finish. Yeah.
Yeah. I'm a little worried. I'm hoping it's more on the 4 episode.
Everyone's gonna die.
Yeah. It kind of feels like we're leading up to something huge like that. Either...
Well, you talked about, before we started recording, you talked about basically the metaphor or the symbolism with them stripping their armor. Mm-hmm.
It's this moment of removing the history, removing their identities it always seems like such a big moment for these characters, for any character really, because it's preparing the audience, it's preparing them for this huge step. You just know something's gonna happen. We're not gonna return the same. We're never going to be able to go back to that original form that we were in.
Yes.
And it's just it just gives you the chills when it's oh no, either something really bad is gonna happen, something really good is gonna happen. It's gonna be a mix of both, but we're not coming out of this the same.
No. And if you look at it, the last time they tried to save Omega and the moment that they really lost her, it ended up very similarly. They had this moment where the unit, TAC, ended up dying.
Yeah.
And that was a huge moment for the Bad Batch crew. They were no longer a whole family. They are now lacking. There's always that piece missing. And it seems like they're trying to replicate that symbolism that they had in that second season where Tech died. Mm-hmm. Very much similar kind of experience, starting where they ended or ending where they started, really.
Yeah.
And now we're going to see a different side of the Empire, one that is much more focused on keeping this a mystery. Mm-hmm. And then we're also going to see a very different Bad Batch, like you're saying. Mm-hmm.
as I was saying, I'm hoping it's more leaning more towards the 4 episodes. Because there's just so much that either they're not going to explain and we're just going to get a story out of it, or they need to explain and we need time to get those answers. I hope they're not packing in too much at the end here. But at this point, it's like, I don't think, as far as my lore knowledge goes, I don't think they're going to destroy Tantis. So will it destroy them? Like, how does this work? How do they get out of this scot-free?
Yeah.
And I don't think that happens.
We have 2 episodes left.
Oh my gosh, only 2?
Yes, I just looked it up. There's going to be about 15 episodes of the 3rd season. And we just watched Into the Breach, which was episode 13, so we're in the last 2 for this show.
Oh no.
Something is going to happen. I just don't think that they're going to end this story, or the broad strokes of the story. And obviously theorizing here, that's what you come to Star Wars Uplink for, some theories. I do think we're going to see, it's not going to be called the Bad Batch, but I think there's going to be a continuation of this story in some form or fashion, just because there is so much here to tell. There's the continuing advancements that Hemlock is exploring. There's a sub-room that Palpatine got to see that was different than what we're seeing now. There's the continuing exploration into the M-count cloning. There is the various experiments in Mount Tantis, because there are multiple mountains in this area. There are so many loose ends here that I would love to see more of. And just as like a fun personal thing that I would love to see, I would love to see more of the Commandos. Like, what is their place in this new empire as they've stepped away from clones? So the Commandos in Legends, they were like the original Clone Force 99.
Right.
Like, they were the first special forces for the clones.
There is so much to glean from Bad Batch. I mean, this just feels like we are just scratching the surface of what
it feels like we should have another 10 episodes at least.
It feels like we should have a whole other season, honestly. Like, so what, we're gonna get to Tantis? Like, that, it just feels like with the pacing of how this season has been going, yes, it's been picking up in these last few episodes, but not nearly enough to break out everyone from Tantis.
Yes.
Like, it's leading me up to this belief that, like, there's going to be some huge sacrifices that's going to need to be made to get anything out of this rescue mission, because oh boy.
I mean, just in this episode we saw some very high stakes, and it was intense to say the least.
Yeah. We were both like clutching the edge of the couch like, oh my gosh.
And when it ended, I was like, wait, what? It's ended? What?
Yeah, that was it.
That was the episode? The pacing was so quick. I felt like it was only 5 minutes.
Yeah.
If you told me, like, how long was that episode? It would be like, it's probably 5 minutes. Right?
It felt very short.
Yes. It was 26 minutes. So this is the theory. Like, I think we're going to see something on the exploration of the Empire, and the Empire learning what to do as it goes into this new direction.
Yeah, and it really makes me pleased that I have this feeling, of, oh, there's going to be some huge repercussions, because I don't normally get that feeling with the Empire. Like, normally I see my heroes, or the heroes that we're watching, and it's like, oh yeah, they'll get out unscathed. Not this time.
No.
This time it's like, oh no.
Yeah.
What are we walking into? What are we flying into? Like, oof.
Yes.
I'm kind of terrified, and that actually makes me really excited, because that just means that the Empire is scary, and I haven't seen that, especially not in animated.
Yeah, to this level for sure. But let us know your thoughts on this side of the Empire. What do you think? Are you expecting to see something after Bad Batch? Definitely feels like it. Let us know your thoughts in the comments below. Check out our podcast, and as always, may the Force be with you.